she sees the mic, so she's like, "Oh, they're recording something."
So
Oh,
you
no,
know,
she got her coffee and
we,
everything. She's like, "I'm pulling up
we are out here trying to record our episode, and mind you, we're holding our mics the way that we make fun of everybody who's
with
always
their
holding.
extra tiny
But
small."
you're doing it right.
Yeah, they always hold it
Like
like
this.
it's like a snack.
And there's a woman that's out here trying to whisper who
I hope it picks up the audio.
is literally that in front of us. Came out here with her phone, her keys, everything, making so much noise.
Yeah.
I don't think she gets that we're trying to record a show.
No, and even if she gets, she don't give a fuck. Yeah.
I think we can get started.
We're gonna proceed,
We're gonna-
and because we are committed to this location,
Yeah.
because we love it, and we don't know when the sun will shine upon us again.
Yeah. And we're in dresses right now, but you can see our arms.
Yeah.
You know?
You can also see the goosebumps because it is a little bit cold. I'm not gonna lie, but we're gonna make it work. And neighbor noise.
Mm-mm. I'm sniffing. I've got my tissue right next to me.
Girl.
Can we be like those old ladies who like tuck it in our bra? Hello. Welcome back to another episode of In the City. I'm Dada.
And I'm Lisa, and this is episode 38.
Oh my god.
I know.
I
I was like,
like,
I'm not gonna do it again because the last time I tried to do it, I was like, it looked like gang signs.
yeah.
So I was like, I can't count. But yeah, I felt it, but I didn't see it.
You got it? No, it's still
Rogue
there.
hair.
It's one hair right here.
One.
I've got it.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Well, welcome, guys. And for those of you who are old school fans of the podcast, you will remember when we used to record out here 1 year ago now.
Yes, our first episode actually went live June 21st. So we are coming up on that year mark.
Amazing.
Super exciting.
Amazing. And we haven't aged a day. But yeah, no, it's pretty amazing to be able to be back out here. The weather is beautiful again. We've been talking about coming back out on the balcony for a while. And yeah, just let us know if you prefer this. We tried a different background, I think, for episode 37, our last episode, which was just an attempt to make it less busy in the background, but
I wasn't feeling it. But
I really wasn't either. So if you were feeling it, sorry, but your opinion has been vetoed.
sorry, not sorry.
Executive decision. Yeah, we won't be doing that again because it just didn't have character. I feel
No.
like, yeah, it
No.
just kind of looked very clinical. And oh god, these allergies. Hold on.
You need a sneeze?
Ooh. Two.
Oh,
Mm.
that's such a dainty sneeze.
Ooh.
I like take the whole house down when I sneeze.
I usually do too, but I knew I was on the air, so all of it,
I
like
can't even
60% is inside.
I don't even know how to. Oh my god, they come in threes.
Ooh.
The hand
3 or
motion.
4.
It's
3 or
all
4.
about the hand motion.
Because I'm trying to block it from being on the mic. That's why. 3 or 4 is my limit. Are you one of those 20
I do
people?
7 to 8, maybe even 10.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting, especially that I have a weak back. So when that happens, I literally have to tighten all my muscles.
How was that post C-section?
Well,
If you get a sneezing bout
that was a disaster.
when the stitches are in there, oh my god.
That was a disaster. But,
Yeah.
But yeah. But what can you do?
7
You
to
can't
8, yeah,
avoid
it just has to come out. Yeah. 7 to 8 is a lot. My sister is 17, clockwork, always 17. When you get to 16, you know there's one more, and there's always one more, and then she's done.
Yeah.
17 is a lot.
Yeah.
And they're like same time, yeah.
Very succinct. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make
you could be like, yeah. It's funny. But yeah. And then she's completely exhausted afterwards. But anyway, this is what we go through for you guys, so you're welcome. This is what we endure. It's actually pretty amazing. Pollen in the air signifies spring should have been
We
here.
should be past spring at this point. We should be in summer.
Be in summer.
Yeah.
Actually, it is actually European summer officially, but
yeah,
the weather hasn't gotten the memo yet.
I think today we can approach the topic with a would you rather statement.
Oh, fun. And we actually haven't done this in a while. I think we're doing everything throwback. Throwback to the environment, throwback to the
We
questions of
which
the day.
means to do like a
Yeah,
full on would you rather
that was
kind of
fun.
segment just at the very beginning.
Loved it.
Um, and then say
I have one for you while you're thinking of another one.
okay.
Would you rather,
Mm.
let me construct it.
Struggling with this one.
25 with everything you know now,
Okay.
or 55 with everything you will learn in your entire life? So would you rather be older but with all the knowledge, or younger with the knowledge you have to point to this stage?
Give me 25 with the knowledge that I have now
Okay, why?
because I feel like if I knew what I know now at 40, by the time I got to 50, I would be like killing it in the game of
Okay,
life. You
okay,
get what I
okay,
mean?
okay, because that's what I was gonna say. Exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna
Like,
say, if I know what I know now, but I was 25, the trajectory and the direction would have been just
yeah.
next level.
I think even by the time I got to 50, it would still be a different 50-year-old
Than the
from the
one who
one that
knows
knows
everything.
everything. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would be happy to only know what I know now at 25, because where I would be at 55 is still way beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Good answer. Good answer. So what do you feel like you know now? And obviously, like, motherhood is a big part of what we
What we've
learn, but
learned.
what you feel like you've learned about yourself that you would tell that 25-year-old self. We kind of had an episode where we did this, where we did the letter to my 18-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
But at 25, where you've been through college, where totally like
We're
I
in our
know
first job.
everything. Yeah, that stage where you're like, "Oh, I know everything about life."
At 25, I was getting married. Well, engaged
Oh,
to
you
be married.
were,
I got married
yeah.
at 26, which
Oh
now
my
I think,
god.
what the hell was I doing? I love my husband, but
But
at that time,
25,
really, that was
but I mean,
I
in
was
a
a
lot of
baby.
cultures, that's also very,
Yeah,
like, that's either very young or very old.
yeah.
But yeah, I
It was
think,
old for me,
yeah, for
for
your
my,
culture,
for
even
my,
for mine, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, traditionally. But as much as you know about yourself, sort of emotionally, and how you've grown, um, what would you say is the biggest, one of the biggest nuggets of knowledge that would have helped you out at 25 that you have now?
I think I speak a lot about this in my own coaching page, and that's
Hmm.
really this whole people pleasing.
Put it right here. In case you forgot.
I think I spent so much of my 20s. Obviously, I've been people pleasing for most of my entire life. Like, I did not stop that until about a year and a half ago.
Mm. Mm.
But I think it was really at its peak in my 20s and just really caring about what everybody else says, like making sure that everyone else is comfortable around me before I even take into consideration my own
Your own
feelings,
comfort.
my own
Mm.
comfort, my own opinions about anything. Really always seeking to be the peacemaker or one that doesn't cause the drama or the trouble
To validate before being
before
validated.
you, yeah. And I feel like that cost me a lot. And not just in like my um not just on a friendship level, but even like professionally, like if I ever saw something at work that I did not agree with,
Mm.
I'd always just kind of stay quiet because I thought that's just what you're supposed to do, and especially as women, we're kind of conditioned to feel
Especially in
like
the
we have
workplace. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
not
Control
cause the
more.
drama because, they always just perceive us as women that as people that are prone to that.
Mm. Mm. No, I think that's such an important lesson. I can also say, because I've known you in college, and I had this gap of not interacting with you until we sort of like came back into each other's lives by chance last year, kind of the year before, but really mostly, really like engaging as friends in in the past year. And I can say two things. I can say I can see that difference so much from the people pleaser that you were, but really more the person who would give more of herself to others than to herself.
Yeah. Oh,
And at
definitely.
that age, I didn't know what that was, so I couldn't decipher that. But now, in hindsight, I can see that. But also, even in the past year, I can see that growth and how you sort of like stood up for yourself and cheerlead for yourself. But it's easy. I'm just a spectator and I can see that. And
Yeah.
so it's, I love seeing, um, like my friends develop and grow because I don't know, it just makes me so happy in ways that are like really, really beneficial to them. Like I love seeing that. So it's been really good to watch, but also to like hear us talk about week in, week out, and to be like, oh my God, here we are a year later. And
Yeah.
like we're so not in the same place that we were a year ago, even though we're
Yeah.
sitting in the same place. We're, you know,
Oh
like
my
as
God.
individuals, so different than the girls that sat here this time last year,
Yeah.
and that's, like, pretty amazing.
I love that you can see that
Mm,
and see my growth. I mean, I've always been somebody that I've always surrounded myself with people that are like with females that are powerhouses. So like you, like I
mm.
always would like look up to you and want to be like strong and opinionated and opinionated. I know some people will hear the word opinionated and see like a negative,
Don't make me cry now on
but
this
you know,
thing.
like you've always just known who you are.
Sure haven't,
But
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 girls and actions.
that's how I oh shit, I keep bumping into the mic.
It's all good.
That's how I've always seen you as someone who is you walk into a room, you know who you are, you know what you want, you know, like what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And that for me has also really been a huge part of my journey this last year. Being like I've asked myself, be like, what would Lisa do? What would Lisa
Are you
say?
serious?
Yeah, because
Okay,
it's
the what
very
would Lisa say is a tricky one because
there's some shit I
well, I'm like,
cannot say.
listen, I can't stand by that as
Yeah,
a method that is foolproof because
yeah.
there's a lot of that's one of my journeys is trying to control what I say.
But I feel like you came into my life at the exact moment. You know, I
Mm,
don't believe in um, coincidences
or
or
coincidences.
random, events. I feel like everything, there's a reason for why you came back into my life at that moment where I was kind of like, I wouldn't say change myself, but maybe just evolve and
Mm,
unlearn the things that weren't
mm,
serving me or didn't no longer had a purpose. And to be around someone like you who kind of already had like a really good handle on those things, it was kind of
mm.
it's been inspiring. So this episode was not meant to be all like
It really wasn't. We didn't plan that either because
I think we
wow.
I think we gotta save the actual
Seriously, it's turning into like
one
a
year
1-year recap.
recap
It
on the
wasn't,
June
you know, it
21st.
wasn't meant to be. It wasn't, no, we can't because I'll be taking my German exam on that day.
Oh
21st is my
no.
exam. Yeah, side note, I finished my German class, hopefully, if I pass
Do
the
you wanna
exam.
teach like show them how far along you've come?
9.
No. So I gotta tell you though, like
Ich
you know
mag nicht.
yeah, but like you've been in been in Germany long enough when German words start to take over your English vocabulary. So we
Yeah.
spent the last like 20 minutes looking for a small piece for the
Oh, the mic.
microphone,
Yeah, yeah.
and every like 5 seconds I hear Lisa in the background going, Scheiße. Like not
Be-
shit, not like just Scheiße.
because
It's just
Scheiße, try it, guys. I encourage you. This is one of the words I would say. Take a page out of my book because it has such a like a feeling, a depth
yeah.
to it. That's one thing the German is really good for when it comes to cursing. Like it's perfect language for it.
Oh, I still would use Arabic for that. Like Arabic,
Oh yeah,
the
y'all have
curse
some
words,
good
like there's
ones.
some things in
But
Arabic
also
that you
because
cannot
yours
even
are like
say.
phrases. Yours are like
You want to stick it to somebody, learn some curse words in
yeah.
Arabic, and then it's
But
really,
there are sometimes things you can't come back
yeah,
from.
there's some things about like sisters and
Mothers.
mothers and
Yeah. We have
private parts
yeah,
that
yeah. We have a few of those too, which is why I'm like, this can't be in my go-to box because but yeah,
I,
Scheisse just rolls off the tongue.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
I do it too.
It's a thing of beauty. I actually started saying it before I learned German because it was a way for me to swear where the kids wouldn't know, but now
Now
that's
they
shocking
know.
shit.
Yeah.
Scheiße. Yeah,
I love it.
because they know now. So yeah, so I need to
No,
find a new
you
one.
can't
Yeah,
get away.
I need to go back
I
to
can give you
dance.
the word in Arabic.
Does it actually mean what it means?
Khara.
Hara,
Khara.
hara.
Yeah.
Okay, because in Swahili, hara is like diarrhea, like it's next level shit.
How do you spell it?
Hara.
No, this is KHA.
Oh, because you have kh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we don't have kh.
Hara is like village for us, like
Oh,
neighborhood.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay, so that's okay.
but you can say khara.
But what does it mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah,
I can say that. Hmm,
there you go.
nice. Yeah. Okay. I still, because of after living in Dubai, like I still use a few Arabic words that just make sense.
Like
So
what?
like khalas.
Khalas.
Yeah.
And yalla.
Khalas. Yalla I
Yeah,
use and
but you don't have that in Swahili. Yalla. Like
no,
what's the
no, but we
what's
say that in Kenya as well because we have a huge Arabic influence. Yeah, we say yalla, and we also not all the time, but we say that. But we also say we say wallah, but we say wallahi.
wallahi,
Wallahi is our name.
wallahi,
Wallahi, yeah,
wallahi.
yeah. But yeah, wallah is how.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
we say
cool.
wallahi like girl, I swear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wallahi.
wallahi, like
Yeah, we would
truly,
say wallahi when it's like really like,
like I'm telling
yeah, I'm
you for
telling you.
real. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we use
yeah.
that one wallahi. Yeah.
Oh, I love learning
The
the
connection
connections
between
between
yeah, it's
our
so funny.
cultures. I mean, I don't know what the Arabs were doing in
I know
Africa.
because I'm like, you already knew about the spices. So it's not like the British
I
who were there for the
I hope
spices.
they weren't doing some messed up shit.
I don't know, but the influence is quite strong. But it stayed, and it's also like kind of like intermingled with the language of Swahili that's been like a derivative of mostly Arabic, but also Bantu language. But I think it's so beautiful. It's a lovely
Yeah, you were telling me
language.
Tanzania, their Swahili is very Arabic.
Arab. It's closer to
Um,
the Arabic, the intonation even, yeah, and it's like the proper grammatically, like
so would I understand some words?
100% no, no. The
No?
same way I can't understand full Arabic, but there's words that I can hear that I'm
Like
like,
I said kitab
yeah, yeah,
earlier,
yeah, and I
which
was
is
like,
book in
that's
Arabic,
yeah,
and you
kitabu,
immediately picked up
yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah, kitabu is book, and remember we did the whole like we realized that counting in tens is the same, except
Yeah.
we add an I to everything. I don't know
Do
why.
you?
Yeah, ishrin, ishrini,
Shini.
30,
Talatin.
30, 40, 40. Hamsin, hamsini.
But what about 1 to 10?
No.
Wahed.
Yeah, because I got to Dubai and I heard the numbers a lot and I was like, not the
Nothing
same as
close. So it's only
Moja
when you get
Bili
to the
Tatu
tens.
Tanu. Yeah, it's not the same.
And what's 100?
Mia.
Mia. Yeah.
Is it the same?
Yeah. What's 1,000?
Elfu.
Alf. I love it.
Just like us to be extra and add vowels where it
Yeah.
doesn't need to
But
be
what
there.
is your alphabet in terms of letter? What is like,
Our alphabet is adopted from the European alphabet or whatever,
so
the
you
Greek
use
A,
the
B, C,
Latin
D.
letters.
Yeah, but only because it was brought to us. I'm sure there was something that existed before, but no one wrote it down.
And
So
in
we don't know.
Tanzania, it would also be,
The same, no one wrote it down. So whatever was imposed on us is what we
there's got
have
to be
now.
something.
Yeah. There has to be something that existed, but because it was oral tradition,
I should ask
um,
my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law works for, so I told you that my sister and her husband live in Sharjah, which
mhm.
is one of the states in the United Arab Emirates.
PS, if you can make it to Dubai in over this coming weekend, like
She'll be there.
yeah, holla.
Not strangers, like,
Yeah, just because
or
it's
maybe
next door.
strangers. You can give an autograph or two. I don't know.
No, but I've heard so much about her, even from college days, but
Yeah.
we never met.
So
So,
her husband works in Sharjah for something called the Africa Institute.
oh, I didn't even know
Apparently,
that
there
was a
was
thing.
a huge, there's some sort of connection to the UAE and Africa and a lot of
Yeah, exploitation
African
mostly.
culture.
Oh, culturally.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
right.
so they opened this Africa Institute, and there's a lot of like within that, there's African studies, and
Like
there's a whole,
historical language studies
yeah.
stuff.
So
Yeah,
I need
so he
to
probably
ask
has
him. He
access
must have
to some of that.
the
I know
material.
just for us, um, on the continent, having access to a lot of the things that give us insight into our background history once a certain uh, generation dies off, a lot of it is lost because it was oral, or
Yeah.
you have people who are now like suffering from dementia, they don't remember. It's really sad. So it's so important. I think about this all the time when I go home and I'm like, I really want like to start writing down the stories and the things that my dad tells me and what he remembers. And there's a cool thing that I saw where it said, there's this book that you give like as a gift to your
Yes.
grandfather. You saw it?
I wanna buy it
I
for my
wanted
mom
so
and
much.
dad.
It's
I don't think
so
they'll
amazing.
fill it out.
No, no,
I
no.
would see
I
your
would do
dad
it for
would fill it
myself.
out.
Yeah, but it
I
would
think
just
he
be
would.
easier if I wrote it. I would want him to tell me and I write it down. I can't read his writing. But I would want to read it to the boys when they grow up.
Yeah.
And there's especially one question that I loved, which was, what would you want your children and your grandchildren to know or remember the most about you? And
I just burped into the mic, by the way. It was like
all over the shop today, all over. It's fine. Fine, public holiday, anything goes. Um, and I know that that answer to that question would be like 12 pages. It would be so good because, yeah, like I would be like, here's your platform, speak,
I
and
s
just like write.
it was an ad that popped up on Instagram,
Yeah,
and I sent it to my siblings right away, and I'm like, "I
yeah.
need to get this for mom and dad." Especially my dad. My dad has so many stories.
Stories, right?
And you know what my baby brother started to do? He started anytime he's with my dad, he
I love
records
that you call
voice
him your
notes.
baby brother. How old is baby brother?
He's 19.
Baby.
He is 19. I'm 42.
What did I just say?
Born on the same day.
I remember the day she found out her mom was expecting her brother in college. And she was like, do you realize
My
that I could
parents?
be pregnant at the same time as my mom?
Yeah, but everyone else's reaction was like, "You
Your
realize your
parents are
parents are
still
still
getting
doing it?" I
still getting
was
it on.
like,
And she was like,
I didn't even think of that.
I hadn't thought about it till this very moment. Thank you. I think I was one of the people.
I think I was like Virgin Mary kind of thing, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, we just all came by,
saying kumbaya.
yeah, we were
Just,
dropped by a stork at the doorstep. But yeah, that was like a dose of reality. Like, yeah, they're
oh
definitely
my
enjoying
God.
it.
But yeah, so my baby brother Kareem
Mhm.
has started to, now he's studying in university in London. But before he left, he started recording every time he was with my dad, car, in the house or whatever.
Just
He'd
recording
turn
everyone
on his
else's stories.
record, he'd record on his phone. So he has like voice
Amazing.
notes of my dad and his stories. And my dad has tons of
Yeah,
stories
yeah.
from
And they
his
tell them
days,
so well.
yeah, from his days at the UN, the racism he faced at the UN, his
Mm.
experiences as a Palestinian, like all of that. And it's just
Mm.
like, and the older he gets, the more he's starting to speak with his Palestinian dialect, which we
Really?
use certain words like in Arabic, like we'll replace a letter with a ch sound. And
Mm.
so it's also interesting to hear him kind of like going back to his roots and have that on record.
That's amazing. That I really like.
So that stuff like that, like it's those little things that I want to
That I
hold on
really
to.
like.
And so I want to get this book as well, but I don't know, like
I think the recording is so
the
important.
recordings are like it's his voice.
Yeah.
My sister Dina got a, so my dad always signs off his messages, his, if he writes us an email or whatever, he doesn't say love you, he says LU. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
Dina got him to actually write LU Dina in his handwriting, and she got it tattooed somewhere here. Right?
Oh my
So I
god.
was like, I need
Best
I need
tattoo
to do
ever.
that too. But
Because she's probably, don't copy my
don't cut it.
tattoo.
No, she's all for it. Like we have a sister
That,
tattoo. Like
yeah,
we all,
that's
you know.
so, I love
How
that.
nice is that? I mean,
That's
I know
really
there's like
good.
controversy around tattoos and the ink and all that, but
Whatever.
whatever. But like for me,
No,
it's,
that's beautiful.
and
Something
even
that's
my,
indelible
yeah,
that actually means something.
yeah,
Yeah,
my
that's amazing.
my kid, we were funny enough, my kid and I and the whole family were waiting outside of a hotel yesterday for like 3 hours.
In like a wind blizzard.
It was like
I
a,
saw the
I
video. I was
swear,
like, oh, you are
at least the
dedicated.
sun was out, honestly. Like if it had been cold wind,
Because
I
I
would
was
have,
seeing these trees in the wind
yeah, yeah,
almost falling over, and I
yeah,
was like, nope, couldn't be me.
yeah. And
And I would be pissed if Ronaldo hadn't shown up. I would have been like, so we don't like him anymore.
yeah,
We're
so
done.
Ronaldo has been in Munich for the last couple of days because we have,
CR7. You don't know.
by the way, I just looked at it and I was like, where is the phone? for a minute, I and
Like we're not
I
recording.
said, where's the phone? Okay, so the Portugal team has been in Germany, in Munich, because the UEFA Nations League or whatever has been.
Nations League. Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
Football.
UEFA.
Football.
Football games have been happening in Germany, and people got wind of the hotel that Ronaldo was staying in. And so yesterday we were standing outside waiting for a sighting of Ronaldo, and my kid who sees my tattoos, he's a huge Ronaldo fan, and Ronaldo has not a single tattoo on his body, which is not normal for athletes. Athletes
Especially
are covered.
footballers. That's a good
Athletes
point.
are
I
usually
just
covered,
noticed that.
and he doesn't have tattoos because he likes to donate blood to to kids. And so Manny was like, "Why do you get tattoos? Ronaldo doesn't have tattoos. I will never get a tattoo." And I
Wow.
looked at him, I was like,
Wow.
tattoos are little memories.
So now you've been, see, this gives you a glimpse of motherhood, especially your son. You're held up to be compared against Cristiano
Cristiano
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the standard.
seriously?
That's what we have to
That's my
compete with.
standard?
Yeah.
How am I going to compete with
Yeah.
him?
Yeah. Mom, why can't you score a goal from across the field?
Yeah.
Like, with your
Ronaldo
eyes
can do
closed.
that.
Like, what are you doing with your life?
Does your kid walk around yelling, "I'm him" all day long?
Oh my God, no. But he does the "Swoo" all the time. I'm so sick of it.
My
Yeah.
kids literally say, "I'm him." I don't know where they got it
I
from,
don't know where that came from,
but it's like
either.
a thing
But I've
right
heard,
now.
yeah, the kids saying that. Yeah.
Our kids are not
He's,
Gen Z, they're Gen Alpha, so maybe it's a Gen Alpha
yeah,
thing.
they're an alpha
But he's like,
now.
"I'm him. I'm him."
I'm him. Nah, he's not started saying that. Granted, he's a little bit
One day
younger.
with Manny
But
and Sammy, and he's gonna
oh,
be like,
he's going to
gonna
come
come
up
on, be like,
back with all the
"I'm
lingo.
him."
He'll come back with just an array of knowledge. Yeah.
I
The
swear.
Ronaldo thing is less with him because he's more of a
Lamine Yamal fan.
he's not Bayern player fan. So he's a Musiala, and
Oh,
when it comes to international, he doesn't like, well, of course, like um Mbappe is, so he
yeah.
follows him wherever he goes. He's like a fan of the individual, not the team. So, and then who's the other guy? Jude Bellingham.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But
who I'm also a fan of.
I love Lamine Yamal.
Mm.
I mean,
Well, it's so cute.
he is Moroccan, so
Mm.
maybe that's.
Mm.
But also, Cristiano Ronaldo and he's been popping up in the news saying, um, basically, stop messing with Lamine Yamal. He's only 17, so he's been sticking up for him and trying to protect
Good.
him.
Yeah, because he usually doesn't like make those kind of
No,
statements.
no,
He just stays out of it.
but he's literally he's like, because I think
Mhm.
also his kid is around the same age.
Oh,
His
I
own
forgot
kid.
because he's got like 5 kids or
Yeah,
something. They
yeah.
have a lot. Yeah,
His
so I
wife is
guess the
hot.
older one.
Although they're not married.
He refers to her as his wife,
Yeah,
though,
but they're not, I think, officially married, or maybe
which
they
I
are
like.
married
Which I
now.
like.
So
But I don't know. I don't see it.
that
I
you
find
want
her
it?
mid, but I like that. I find her really mid.
I think you know me.
This
I
is
like
crazy for me to say.
dark-haired
Oh no, no,
beauties.
no. I think she's sexy as fuck.
Yeah.
But like a Cristiano Ronaldo, like I would expect that he would be with someone who you're like, oh, I find her super mid, but I like that. Like I
Hold on.
like,
I gotta see her now.
yeah, okay, have a look.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
cute.
she's totally mid.
I think she's
Zoom
cute.
in on her face.
Hold on. This is a really bad pic of her.
Oh, yeah, total mid. Even in the body, she's mid. But I think
But
that
I
I
think that's
really
what I
like that.
like. Like
I like
she's
that she's a normal person. She's beautiful.
definitely my height, her size, or like
I like that she's thick too. Yeah, I
yeah.
like that she's thick. That part I do like. And she has a dude that carries her Birkins for her as she walks around. Yeah, yeah. I was like, okay, okay, you've won. You've won.
Yeah.
So people can't even carry the bag. You have someone to
Carry the bag for
Okay,
you.
okay, okay.
Chapeau.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, as mid as I might say she is, she's doing something
She's doing
very
something
right.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
because he's a happy man and he's performing. But sometimes the happiness also prevents him from performing. To quote Rocky, women weaken legs. So
Women weaken legs. I've never heard this.
when he's training, it's in Rocky 1, when he starts dating Adrian. Oh, girl is leaving, I think, and moving all of the furniture upon exit. But basically, when he's training for like his big fight, he's like, and no, like hanging out with your girl because women weaken legs. And yeah, there's this whole idea. Yes, there's this whole idea of like, like if you're expelling your energy, so to speak, as a man, then you don't have it for training, etc. And a lot of people talk about like Russell Wilson and Sierra with how
What about?
she's incredibly sexy,
Yeah.
and basically every time she posts a video, he's like always in the comments, and he's just like, "Girl, when are we doing number 5?" Like he just keeps knocking her up. And yeah, and he's been traded to a different team every year since basically they've been together. People are like, "Yeah, because look at what he's dealing with at home. He can't focus
Yeah.
on the
It's
field."
too much happening.
So I think that like it can be twofold. Like you can be a really great woman and like you motivate the hell out of your man, like Cristiano Ronaldo, and or you can be a really good woman and your man is like nothing else on on the planet matters except for me making more offspring with this one. So
That's
like I
true.
think both can be true at the same time. So, a good woman will have both. But at
Well,
the end of the day,
that's
both
that's
of these
that's a
men are
magic
smiling.
power. Yeah, that's a power right
Mhm,
there in either case.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
For the man, depends which woman they get.
Yes, yes, yes. But a lot of the woman that they get, I think, is also like comes down to the kind of man they are for women. Because I think we're so responsive to like you nurture me, I will nurture you times 10.
Hmm.
Like you fuck with me, I will fuck with you times 10.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I think that women are so responsive and nurturing in a way that is like reciprocal, but also like whatever you give, we will like multiply it for you. So you're welcome. That's to the husbands.
For the husband.
They know. They know.
I think I'm out. I think I need a top up.
Mm.
Do you need a top
So yeah, we paused for a coffee pop up.
coffee top up? I love my coffee. I don't drink coffee.
I love my coffee. I don't drink coffee.
I love my coffee. I don't drink coffee, but when I'm at Lisa's once a week, I expect my filter
Is this the
cafe.
only place that you drink
This
coffee?
and maybe another time during the week if I go out like to meet a friend or something. If it's
So
early in the morning, I'll
weird.
have a coffee then. But yeah, otherwise I don't drink coffee at home.
It's
Although
like
I miss it. But
it's like a ritual for us too. So it's
yeah,
not just coffee, but it's like the whole like we stand in the kitchen and it's always unplanned, but it's just become a thing that we do and then we catch up and we drink our coffee standing up in the
in
kitchen.
the same position.
Always in the same
I
spots.
love it.
Why?
I
But
love it.
yeah, it just happens that way. And yeah, we just catch up and then we're like, "Oh my God, you need to start recording.
Yeah,
It's been like 3 hours."
let's go.
Yeah, it's the best. So it's such a highlight. It's yeah, really nice.
So if we were to go back to this
Yeah, what were we talking about?
40s, the 40s discussion,
Yes,
you
yes.
asked me
25
25
with all the
versus,
knowledge that you
yeah.
have now, you said.
Is there anything in your 40s now
Mhm.
that you can say you've learned and are happy that you've learned?
Everything. I mean, obviously, like some of the lessons have been difficult to learn, but I'm happy that I've learned all of them.
Like what?
A lot of them, just the things that get you to a place where you have to realize your strength or your tenacity. It's usually like not controversy. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Contradictory?
No, that wasn't the word either. It's usually difficult times. There's a word for it, but I can't think of it now. But it's usually a difficult situation that leads you to find out how like tenacious and strong you are.
Yeah,
So
it's always, I think it's always that. That's always the
exactly,
case.
exactly. So those are hard lessons, but you're always like, phew, so glad I came through that and found A, B, C, D out about myself or about the world and life. So all of it has been something that I would never change. Um, but I would say the biggest lesson would be about because the biggest difference I see between 25-year-old me and me now is understanding my capacity or ability. And even now, I think there's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know if I could, and you question yourself and you're uncertain, but it's so loud, that voice, when you're in your 20s. They're just like, nah,
Yeah.
nah, I can do this. And sometimes life is like, and like pushes you into it, and you're like, oh my God. And then you sink and you swim, and you're like, okay, I could. But sometimes to be able to know that without having the trauma of the sink and the swim would be amazing. To just be like, oh my God, this is what I know that I'm capable of. This is what I know I can overcome. This is what I understand is somewhere inside of me would be amazing to have at 25.
But you now can honestly say that, and this is what I'm understanding from
Mhm,
you, that now in your 40s,
mhm.
and we say we're in our 40s, and I know people think we're not like late 40s. We're still in our early
Nobody is
40s.
thinking that. And if you are, kindly hop off this podcast immediately
Bye.
because I don't know the basis for that. Because we don't look it.
42,
Three.
43.
Mhm.
But you can genuinely say that you are now, any conflict, any event that comes your way, you definitely can handle it better than in
Then
your
for
20s,
sure,
because
for
you
sure.
have picked up tools along the way on how to deal with those situations.
Definitely better than when I was 25.
Yeah.
But the reason that I say that and I'm still learning is because I still think there's space for me to improve. So even though I am better at dealing with anything that could come across sort of my life now than I was at 25, I'm hoping that I'm still growing because when I'm 55 or 53, 10 years from now, I want to be able to look back on me now and be like, I'm so much more capable than I was.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm better, but I'm not as good as I could be.
Would
And I
you
want to keep kind of understanding that I can get better at that.
would you say that you've gotten really good at, maybe like, so you take in the event that happens and
Hmm.
know how to deal with it
Hmm.
emotionally, but maybe still need to work on how to deliver your like deliver the messaging of what you've been through, maybe? Like, is that what still needs work?
I think when I've really thought about it, because my biggest sort of, I would say, at least overt flaw for myself has been my communication, how I say things, the tone, sort of just delivery and things like that. Um, it comes from less than stellar grasp on my emotional standpoint. So I think there's nothing wrong with having an emotional reaction to something.
No,
Always.
nothing
We're
wrong.
human beings, and I think that's part and parcel of who we are.
Yeah.
But how we then choose to express or manage that is completely up to us. And in the past, I've not had the perfect handle on how I express or interpret my emotions. That's where I'm like, okay, that usually comes out maybe as a less than stellar
Yeah.
um understatement. It usually comes out in a negative way or in a way that's not conducive to anyone involved.
And you're communicating this so well.
Only because
And I'm going to tell you
I had this
why.
conversation with my therapist.
But I'm also going to tell you why.
Oh,
And we talked a little bit about hormones earlier. So
okay.
women also have to be very wary of our hormonal cycle when it comes to communication and being able to like like properly express what we're feeling.
Hmm. Hmm.
So usually when we
I
are
know where you're going with it.
when
It just
we're
clicked.
when when we're menstruating, so like day 1 through 10 or 11, depending on your actual hormonal
I
cycle, is
say
when our
11.
estrogen is high. This, I'm going to get into the science of it, so forgive me. That's when your estrogen is high, and estrogen is where we get that is our good vibes
Mm,
hormone. It's where we feel like the world is so awesome and we're very optimistic. It's
mm.
also when we communicate this. So,
So guess which part of my cycle I'm in?
so, but honestly, so it was like I was reading this book and it was saying if you're gonna have a breakup, and time it around your
Not them saying, try and time the breakup.
around your, you know,
See, that would have
early
been helpful
cycle.
information to have at 25
Because
because holy crap.
then you know how to deal with life. Like,
Yeah,
if
and
I
how
know
to deal better with people.
at the end of my
Don't become
cycle,
like
like
stalkers.
I'm not gonna do anything, any confrontations or whatever. I'm not gonna take that on at the end of my cycle.
Right,
No,
right, right.
because
Or
I'm
make life
already
decisions.
no. I'll
Yeah.
wait till I'm, my estrogen is high and I'm in my peak,
Right,
and I'm like,
right.
or
Yeah.
when my testosterone is up, which is
So
when
you
you're
have like,
ovulating and you feel like you're superwoman and
yeah,
you're
and you're like, yeah,
invincible. Like
now I'm gonna go have that interview and kill
that's
it.
when I'll do it.
That's when I'm gonna go and have that lifting calm
Yes,
when my testosterone is
exactly,
peaking and I'm
exactly.
just like, yes, I'm the baddest bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
women, if you don't know, we do have testosterone
yeah,
running through our
yeah.
bodies.
It's necessary.
It's necessary and we do have it. It's usually around when you're ovulating. So,
Yeah, yeah. And even when you're not, you still have it in there. It's
Mhm.
just not spiked up. But yes,
Not
yes,
spiked up.
we do have it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And men are so simple.
It's so simple. It's just a conveyor belt of
24-hour
testosterone.
hormonal cycle and testosterone coming in and out every 15
Although,
minutes.
although having said that, we did mention this in the last episode that they do have a cycle when it comes to moods and as well as like sexual peaks
Yes.
and desire as well.
I want to
So
research that. There's got to be something like,
yeah,
because I've
and
always said I'll be like to my husband, I'm like, you're on your period, aren't you?
yeah, they definitely have a period. They definitely have a period, whatever you want to call it. It's a time frame where there is a difference in behavior,
Yeah.
and it's very like trackable or traceable, and it's quite interesting. And the irony is there's more research available on that than
Then,
on yeah, yeah, which is anyway, that was last week's topic.
yeah,
This week we're talking about, yeah,
just being in our
random
40s.
shit.
Random shit, but being in our 40s.
Yeah, I think it's so when I picked 25, the reason I picked that is so for 2 reasons. One, it's kind of a far back time where you can kind of remember what it felt like in terms of no hangovers after night out, just having flawless skin for no reason, being able to eat anything and still just looking the same. And
That's also the age that I still feel I am.
that is the
I
other
still
thing.
feel
You
it
remember what that feels
yeah,
like.
I feel like when
Yeah.
someone tells me, when I look at the calendar and realize I'm in my 40s, I'm like, no, but internally, I feel like I'm
Oh,
25.
absolutely. Aside from after a night out, I feel 25
Yeah,
all the time or in the gym.
yeah,
Yeah. In the gym, I'm reminded constantly. The joints are like, plot
just
twist.
just
No, you're not.
kidding.
Yeah,
We
no.
got you.
But really, honestly, I feel that way too. And it's because we can vividly remember what it feels like to be 25.
Yeah,
Like, I remember how and in hindsight, it's effortless and beautiful. But when you were living it, you were like, this is just me. This is
yeah,
life. Like, this is it. So that feeling internally, like on some level in the brain, is still very much there. Um, and so I think that's a really nice way to compare where we are.
yeah.
But I think it's also a time in life where you feel like you kind of know everything because you're like, "Ugh,
Done
I've
with
done
college
Psychology 101. I'm totally qualified to be a therapist."
and you're working.
Yeah, you're like, I'm
So you're like,
supporting
I've
myself.
got this adulting thing down.
You maybe had a breakup, so you're like, I totally understand everything about relationships and men and myself. And you're kind of forging, if not already have forged those friendships that are really core. So you feel like you just have this holistic experience of life already. Um, and then 30s happen and you're like, oh, I didn't know shit.
I mean, 30s, we were asleep
Yeah, yeah,
because of
true.
it. Like we
True.
had kids, we were sleep deprived, no energy, nothing. So
Yeah,
I really
it
feel like
was
the 30s came and went.
so
And I
fast.
had my second child a month before my 30th birthday. So since then, I've always had to backtrack and be like, how old am I? Because my 30th birthday came and
It's a
went.
blur.
I didn't like, I think I was asleep by 7 p.m. on my 30th birthday, and that's supposed to be like you know,
That's a
the decade
landmark.
birthdays are like landmark
Yeah,
birthdays,
yeah.
you know?
30th is a big one
And
too
I
because you still have the energy to
Yeah,
celebrate it.
I literally skipped over that. So a year later, like on my 31st birthday, I'm
You were
like,
like,
"Hey, I'm
"Oh,
turning,
am I?"
I guess I'm turning 30 this year." And my husband was like, "No, honey, 31." It's like, I lost it.
You basically, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, having kids is hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely
Yeah.
my 30s. The 20s is when you're feeling alive.
Yeah.
30s, I feel like for us at least, I don't know,
Mm,
every woman's journey is different
of
depending
course.
on when they've
Of
had their
course.
kids and everything,
Yeah.
or if
Or
maybe
not
they
having
haven't had
kids.
kids. But I'm talking specifically for us.
Mhm.
And so then in our 30s, we're just kind of like in that zombie state. And it's like now in our 40s where we're awake again.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that because 30s was I remember just go, 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 go.
Just
It was
survive.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, I need to do this, and then I have to be here, and then I have to wake up at 4 AM if I wanna train,
Yeah.
and then I have to come back, and then I have to do this, then I have to go to work, and then I'll be
And
like,
the kids need to do this and the kids
it
need to do
was
that.
never
Yeah.
and I actually remember not sleeping because even when I lay down, I remember actually waking up in the middle of the night, opening my laptop, and, like, doing work
Yeah.
because I would think about stuff when
Yeah.
I was meant to be sleeping.
Yeah.
So there was not really and that was like a 2-year period sort of at
Yeah.
the beginning of my 30s, and then it just kind of became like the norm. It was like, okay, just be go, go, go about everything.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you're absolutely right to say, at least for us, the 40s is kind of now like, okay, I've settled in a
Kind of
little
like one of those.
bit. Yeah, like can sit down
Yeah.
and kind of like hold a mug that's not gonna get spilled out of my hand.
Yeah.
And the world will still be on its like axis. And now I can think about other things. So that is a little bit of a gift. Absolutely, I can say that.
I mean, I know you still have a youngin at home,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
still feel like you're killing it despite that. Like you're still
I
on
don't,
top of it.
but I do feel like I have a lot of
Because
um
he's not your first.
right, but also I have help this time around, which
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
the first time around. So for me, already that is such a hugely different experience having someone who's actually a present. Ooh,
Hello. Where are you?
ooh, and it seems little and
So
I know
those
dogs
little
are
ones. Oh, it's the little
it's the
ones.
it's
My
around
husband
401.
calls them
It
rats.
is a rat. I was literally about to say it.
So we've had a German Shepherd. Well, we had a German Shepherd.
Bump the mic.
Rest in peace, Louis.
Louis.
Yeah. But
He was
my
beautiful too.
yeah, my husband's always like, it's either big dogs
Or
or
no dog.
no dog.
Yeah,
But I
because
was like, I want my little daughter. Like for me, I'm always like, the next dog we get is gotta be
a
a
little one.
girl.
Because
And it's
now you know you're not having a
I'm never
daughter.
having a daughter, so I need this will be my daughter.
It's because you want an ally in the
I
household.
need an
I
ally.
know the feeling.
And
Like,
Khalid will be like, no, they get their periods too. I'm like,
they
so
do. So we
I
will
get
be
my periods
here. Yeah.
too. We
So,
get
oh,
each
so is that a
other.
problem for you?
Man.
I
But
understand you completely.
yeah, but we digress. You
On
you
topic still.
you said the lack of sleep really triggered something in me. I
Mm,
remember
mm.
now in my 30s, I was afraid to sleep because I knew I was going to be woken up. Somebody's cleaning their slippers, aren't they? Like,
And I tell you, today is the first day in all of 2005 or 2025.
so
All
what was
give
I
me
saying?
pass.
Yeah, so I was afraid to sleep because I knew I was going to get woken up, and it was easier for me to stay awake
Than to get woken
than
up.
to get woken up and have to deal with, because I'm also a
Oh,
light
I feel that.
sleeper. So if I were to when I had to wake up to my kids, it took me maybe 3 hours to go back to sleep.
And there's no point because you're
There's
going to
no
be woken
point.
up again in
And
that 3 hour
literally I
period.
would have anxiety at night.
About
I always, yeah,
sleeping.
I always knew, oh my God, I'm gonna sleep, but I know I'm gonna get woken up. And even when I do get woken up, I'm gonna have to. And we had this whole system where we never did the cry it out method or anything. So if our
Neither did
kids
we.
woke up, we would sit next to them at night, hold their hand like in while they're in the crib until they fell asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that meant me lying down on the ground for hours at a time till
Yeah.
they slept.
Yeah. And the
And
moment
then
you go to
knowing
get
that I
up,
had to get up like 3 hours later to go
and
to
you
work.
and you have to slink up and get up in slow motion and pray that they don't notice that you're leaving.
Oh my God, that just reminded me. We used to do this thing where we thought we were sleep training our kids. and we would
And their kids are like, please.
yeah, we would like so we would start off in our kids' room on the floor, and then every like 15 minutes, kind of like
Slide
slide
closer to the door.
closer to the door, and then another 15 minutes, slide close, and at some point we would be in the hallway. The TV was like down the hallway, but we would be able to tilt it so we could see,
Watch TV
watch
while you're
TV,
lying in the
and lying
hallway.
down on our stomachs, head on our chin,
Like
like
guerrilla
yeah,
warfare,
yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
One of us, like, is depending. We would alternate.
Yeah.
And so Khalid would be in the living room. He'd be like doing his thing, and I'd be on the ground and be like, "Are you ready to switch?" Be like, "Yeah, I'm ready to switch because I'm freezing on the floor." We switch. That was how we sleep trained.
These kids
It was
have
in
put
our
us through it.
30s. That was our 30s.
Yeah. Always on the on switch.
Yeah,
Like there was never a moment, even when you're meant to be off, sleeping,
never.
recharging, plants, clothes at night to
Yeah.
like you never have that.
And there was, I like, now I think about it, there's no way for me to have done any of the work that I'm doing now in my 30s because I literally could not wrap my brain around it.
You don't even know what needs work
No,
because you don't have the time to sit there and assess.
no.
Because soon as you start
Yeah. You can't
something
even
else,
articulate it. Like, maybe you might know like something doesn't feel right, but you physically and emotionally can't
you can't.
like say the words to
Yeah.
express. Like, I always felt like an outsider, but in my 30s I couldn't say that.
Mm.
I always knew I was a people pleaser, but in my 30s I literally could not say that.
Because you were literally in the biggest midst of
Yeah.
people pleasing, which is
Yeah,
motherhood, where
motherhood.
it's like everyone else has to be happy and sorted and comfortable and safe. And then I'll think about myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because if I think about myself, oh my God,
I'm
guilt.
selfish.
What?
Oh
What's
my
wrong
God.
with me?
I want to go and get my nails done. Like, no.
Nails? Really?
Really?
I
How
had my
dare
first
you?
pedicure. I don't even know if I want to tell this story, but that's not to say that my toes look crazy. They don't look great, but
No,
I had
your
my
toes are
first.
cute,
They're cute now because I still have a pedicure from when I last traveled, which I'm
but
going
it's
to.
a good pedicure.
It was good. It was good.
Pedicure.
Pedicure, pedicure, which I'm going to like. Yeah, get another really great one when I'm in Dubai. But
Yeah.
I had my first pedicure after I gave birth to my second son when he was 2 years of age. Oh, is the plant attacking you?
I'm gonna take my hair back.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Um, No, it's really quite right what you said. It's such an awakening in your 40s, depending on when you have your kids, obviously, and what kind of like self-work you do. But to have this opportunity to be able to be like, okay, now I can like kind of sit back and be introspective and
Yeah.
think about stuff and
Yeah.
um, you know, do healing processes and exercises that actually help me grow again. Um, it's really a gift, and that's why it's such a beautiful time. Also because I think your perspective on yourself and on the world is so different in your 40s. That's something that I'll say is consistent across the board. There is something that changes. I don't know what it is. There's something I read a few days ago that said you have three big milestone growth spurts
Okay.
in adulthood. And I think one was like 36, one was like 50. I was looking for 40, but it wasn't there. Like 36, like 50 something, and then the next one's like 70,
Oh.
where you have these big, like sort of life changing milestone epiphanies that sort of like thrust you forward one way or another. And I
Hmm.
was like, interesting.
I think this is based off of old research because people were having kids earlier. I think
Probably true.
if you take it based off of us, like I think 40s is the peak
Yeah. Also
now.
based off of research that probably didn't take women into account because as we know,
Women have not been included in the
apparently
conversation.
we're a non-factor. But yeah,
Can
I
we
mean,
change our podcast episode to like podcast name to women not included?
we're not included.
Not included, or
Just yeah, just
just
kind of shift it because apparently, yeah, that seems
it
to be
is
a
a
running
thing.
theme. It is a thing that's so disturbing to find as well because
In
there's so
all
much.
elements,
Yeah,
not
and it's not
just
really difficult research to have
hi.
happen because hi, um, because the information, the data is all there.
Hmm.
Like we're talking about it all the time. We're not the only ones. So really, it's just people who don't want to figure it out, find out, and
It
do
is
the
different.
legwork.
Sorry, I don't
That's
mean
not
to.
the same chick
So it's another one. Another one.
on it. That's part of my growth. my growth is to be able to tell blondes apart.
Can I
I'm
tell
working on
my
it.
white girl story, or maybe you
Do you
can
have a white
decide if
girl
you want to
story?
delete it
Yeah,
or not?
tell me, tell me.
My younger sister called me. She was at a
I love a
brunch
white girl story.
in
Stay
Dubai.
in.
She was at a brunch
Oh
in
no.
Dubai,
Yeah. Oh God, I
and
think I know what she's gonna say.
she was with a couple,
Hmm.
like two white
This
people,
is Dina.
yeah,
Hmm.
female, male,
Hmm. Hmm.
and they she she calls me randomly.
Yeah,
She'd been drinking.
as you do. Yeah.
Okay, maybe don't
Yeah.
include
Now it
that
can't
part.
be on there.
No, no, they were at brunch, and she was with her ex-colleagues,
Okay. Okay. Work colleagues.
work colleagues,
Yeah.
and she calls me. She
Yeah.
gets me on the phone, and I don't even have Dina on the screen. She has her colleagues in the picture.
Oh, so immediately the video went to the
Yeah, and they're
colleagues,
like,
right?
"Oh my God, that's your sister?" And she goes, "Yeah, doesn't she look like a white girl?" And I looked,
But you guys look so alike.
and I was like, "Did I hear that right?" I'm like, "Dina, what did you just call me?"
I'd be like, who is this on my phone?
And I hang up. Like
You were
eventually,
like, okay, I'm hanging up.
we hang up, and I couldn't hear her anyway because it was. I mean, you're
Music.
familiar with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
brunch
yeah, yeah, yeah,
places in
yeah. You
Dubai.
can't even make a phone call.
Yeah, yeah. So, and she just kept moving the phone back and forth
And you're
between the
like,
two, and I'm like, "Okay, love you. Talk to you later."
have fun.
And I messaged her. I'm like, "You told me I'm
Oh,
white?" And she was like, "Yeah."
she said, side note.
And she was like, "Yeah, they wanted to see what you look like because they know you're Arab,
Yeah.
and
A
they have an image
picture
of
in
what
mind.
Arabs look like, and you look like a white girl." I was like, "You need to bury that shit in the garden,
You're
in the
like,
back.
fix
Do
it.
do not ever call me that." Like, I know that I don't have the exotic Arab look that most Arab women have, which
But
I every day I'm like, "Oh, I wish I had that."
but also that look has like a range. Like there's so many different like that Arab look. Like
Yeah,
there's Arab women that you know are Arab, but their look can be
yeah,
so different. There's the ones with really dark features and like da, da, and there's one
yeah,
with the green eyes, and
yeah.
then there's even the blonde
And
ones.
I'm
Like,
like
yeah.
in the middle of it, like, and even but at the same time, like even when we were at UConn, I literally had
Oh,
white
people thought
people white people would come up to
Latina,
me,
if not white.
but
Yeah.
no, the white people themselves would come up to me and say, "We know you're not white, but we don't know what the fuck
But we
you
don't know
are."
what you are. Oh, really? In
Yeah,
Connecticut?
in Connecticut.
Wow.
Connect Aka.
Connect. That's because they've never seen anything
And
outside
I
of
was just
like,
like, and of course at that time all I wanted to do was fit in. So I was like, "No, I am like,
yeah,
like one of you
kind of.
guys."
Yeah. It was probably because you hung out with all of us at UConn where they were like, something here not adding up.
The math ain't mathin'.
Yeah. Or like they saw you dance and they were like, no,
No.
she can find the beat.
So she
So something it just doesn't not compute. Does not compute. Oh my god.
Oh
Woo.
man.
That's funny. No, you had not told me that story.
Yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, like it's recent.
Recent. I'm
No. Where did they go to
literally
brunch, by the way?
I
Did
don't
she tell you?
know.
Ask her.
I don't know, but I need to ask her.
Yeah. Well,
But it
if she's
was
going to brunches,
indoors. It was indoors.
all of them are indoors now because it's too hot.
So you wouldn't be by a pool.
No, we're going to an indoor. I don't go to outdoor brunches in Dubai after May. That's like crazy. We're going to tell her we're going to Iris.
I will.
Yeah.
But this I
So
looked at it and
funny
I was
to
like,
me.
do not.
Mm-mm.
I know people label Arabs as Caucasians because we came from the Caucasus Mountains
Yeah.
maybe at some point,
Yeah.
but I think I look more at like the culture.
The fact that you have culture already is a differentiating factor, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. But I think I know a lot of Arabs and I know one that the culture is very strong, also dependent on where you're from, but also I classify Arabs as people of color. I don't classify them as Caucasian, whatever the race sort of because I just feel and I don't know if that's accurate with like the official like racial
I think
classification.
both I think a lot of people would put me in the white people color. white people call them.
Is Arab? I don't think Arab is construed as white, is it?
I don't know. I mean, I
There's
never knew what to check when I
Yeah,
had
but
to click.
that's just because the people who make the form are people
Yeah,
who don't realize that
yeah.
there's yeah. But
There was
um
always like, I think if they
I think
base
it's
it
Arab.
purely, I think you can't. That's where I think
There
you
was always
can't look at it based purely on skin
like the
color.
tone, right?
Like it
It's based
has
on
to be
origin
origins and your
or
culture
descent,
and descent and all of that.
self-identifying,
Yeah,
and yeah, there's a lot of factors in it. But yeah, and also being able to actively being able to trace it. 'Cause I know,
yeah,
like in Australia, you can't take Aboriginal for a straight Islander unless you can actually trace your Aboriginal like lineage. So there's a lot of Aboriginals who are blonde haired and blue eyed right now
yeah,
because they've been so like diluted, but they can trace their lineage. And so yeah, as long as you can actually trace it, which I think is important.
I re-
But certainly in your case, you have an attachment and a connection to the
yeah,
culture
yeah.
as well, the language, everything. So.
I remember at UConn meeting Black people, and I would
Mhm.
have this discussion with them, and I'd ask them, should I call you African American or Black
So
American?
you remember meeting African Americans because here is where I'm going to differentiate myself
Yeah,
from them
yeah.
because the level of ignorance that I also experienced from African Americans is mind blowing.
But
But go
some
ahead.
of them would actually say, no, I'm Black American. I have no connection to my
Hmm.
ancestors.
Yeah, I don't know about
But then
African.
there were others that felt very strongly, like some that had never had no connection to
To
their
Africa.
ancestors, but
Yeah.
they'd have like that, they'd either
They'd
have a
wear like
necklace
kente
with the
cloth or
yeah,
the Afric or like
yeah,
wear a kufi or
yeah. So
something.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, so it
Yeah.
really,
Still not
but
girl
I
bye.
guess for you that would be a completely. I mean, first of
Performative.
all, you're not American to
Yes.
begin with. She said, "What? What a hurley!
Matrixed that one. Yeah,
Dodged a
dodge.
bullet
Yeah,
there."
yeah. But it was the same. Like there was such a like huge because we growing up, we never saw like Kenyans and people like us on TV. So the only media connection we had to seeing black people was African American.
Yeah.
So you just assume, oh, like this is what I should emulate. So when I
Hmm.
went to the States, I was like, oh, cool. Like there'll be black people just like me. And I was like, oh no. So they don't see us as the same. Like the people who were the most like overtly, and also because it was like allowed or socially acceptable, most overtly ignorant to me as an African were African American,
You're kidding.
more so than whites. Absolutely. The worst things I had asked to me or said to me or even like said as a joke were from African American.
Like
Mm,
what?
just all kinds of shit. Like
You
our
live
friend
in you live in
Our
huts
friend
or
Roy, even after
Roy?
even after graduation, used to call me African booty scratcher. Yeah, and then there was, like, that one guy who was like, "You're going home for the summer, why are you packing clothes?"
Oh my god.
You know?
Oh my
Or
god.
just "Oh, like, what's your sister's name?" Is it like, just dumb shit. Yeah, and then they think it's really funny, but it's socially acceptable because it's coming from another black person to a
Right.
black person.
Right.
So, a lot of the ignorance, but and again, this is maybe another lesson that came later in my life. I used to be like, "Oh my god, like maybe I should just like really work hard to like assimilate."
Yeah.
And then later in life, it came to the point where I was like, they don't have that sense of identity, not by any fault or choice, but they don't have it. And whether or not this is fair, this is like symptomatic of the fact that I have an identity, I can trace my lineage, I have a culture that I can like experience, live in, revel in, love, perpetuate, pass on to my kids that they can't,
Oh.
including even my name. And then it became a situation where I was like, I can't like it shouldn't happen. I'm not saying that it's okay, but I'm like, I feel bad for it. It wasn't even like a situation of like it could hurt me. It's just like, oh,
You
yes,
felt bad.
like
Yeah.
that's sad. And I've
Yeah.
got this. And it is a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
it is something that is terrible that it was taken away from you. But don't get it twisted. I will fuck you up if you come for me. But yeah, so it changed my perspective. But like, yeah, I saw it from a more I guess balanced point of view. But like, yeah, for sure, there was a huge, and even when you see a lot of the performative um, African American behavior, where they're like, the really, oh, I'm all about like, you know, my African sister, my da da da, like they
Yeah.
really, really like overdo it, and I'm just okay, that's
Yeah.
cute. What do you know about your heritage? What do you know about where this cloth that you're wearing came from?
Yeah.
What tribe is that from? What are the three main original like groups of language that then every other language in Africa came from? Do you even know that? What region do you come from? Because now we got ancestry.com, you can find out. So like all of that performative stuff, I'm like, cool, but if you really have an interest, do the work.
Do the
Yeah.
research.
Back then, not a lot of them were doing that. It was purely performative. So I was just like, you know what? This is the same as a white person with dreadlocks. Same. This is perpetuation.
Do you feel like that should be
Perpetration? What? Cultural appropriation.
appropriation?
Wow.
Do you
Words.
do you feel like that should be built into the curriculum or somehow like really?
No, there's no way to, because we are so diverse and vast, and also with African Americans, where people have originated from is so many different places.
Yeah.
And then even if they came from the same country, there's so much diversity within that one country, which tribe, which that I think the interest that they have as an individual in saying, I want to identify myself with my African ancestry, beautiful. Do the work though.
Yeah.
Go over there. Now it's happening a lot more. Wasn't really a big thing back then, but you find them not just going there to visit, they're actually investing. Now we have Afrochella that takes place I think it's in Ghana. Like there's just a lot more recognition, but also actual like actions being taken
Yeah.
where people are saying, I want to connect. And so I think that that's still great. But even with that, you find the problem of people saying, oh, like African Americans going and saying, I'm going to invest in Africa, but then they want to live in a gated community with all other Americans and da, 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 da. And then it just drives up the cost of living because now you change the economy. And so there's a lot beyond just what is performative and what is like on the surface
Hmm.
that looks pretty and gives people a sense of identity. But I understand that they're searching for that. Um, but I think there's also something beautiful to be said because African American culture has become something
Has its
in
own
and of
its
itself
own
thing,
thing.
living, breathing,
Yeah.
moving, beautiful thing that has been built and I think birthed through a lot of history and pain and survival and resilience.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that like it's not by choice, but yes, you're something different, and it should be celebrated
Yeah.
as well. I think it's beautiful. Especially when a lot of the world wants to have a piece of it. Like that's a great thing. And I think that's also something to be celebrated. So yeah, I think African American culture is really like nuanced and their experience is really quite different from Black people that live elsewhere in the world
Yeah.
or those of us who've grown up in former colonies, etc. Um, and and so I tend to give it a little bit more grace in some ways, but I'm also like embrace what it is that you are today.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you have because there's something that you have built and survived that's amazing, and celebrate that. Well, yeah.
I think if you can do both, I think that's a beautiful thing because
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
anyone who's really interested in wants to know where their roots come from,
I'm all for
I
that.
think that is beautiful, but also to just like you said, like where you are now and what you have created is
Mhm.
also such a beautiful thing.
Built amidst so much
Yeah.
adversity, I
Yeah.
think is also so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really cool time. Like I don't want to get into a lot of the politics of it, but just seeing Africa in a way just growing so differently than what it's been in the past, in my experience. It's
I'm
exciting.
excited
It's
to see
yeah,
where it goes.
yeah. It's a horrible time in the world to be to be a member of the human race because we are showing our whole entire ass.
Hmm.
Like if aliens landed here, they would be like,
No, we don't want any part of it. We'll find another
yeah,
planet.
we keep going. Let's
This
keep
is not
going.
for us.
Yeah, because like they probably did, and we're like, oh, girl,
Yeah.
no. But yeah, like I think despite all of those things, there's always redeeming qualities. There's always good people somewhere, and there's things that are happening that are still really
Mm.
giving us an outlook that can be positive.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, that was my. I don't even know what the question was, but um, that was my
I don't even know what it was.
knowing about whether would I would be 25 and want to know everything I know now. Short answer is that would be my preferable,
Yeah.
as opposed to being 55 and knowing everything that I'm ever going to learn in life. Oh, but also wait. Let me think about everything that I'm going to learn between 55 and let's say like I die at like 100.
But what if you die at like 56?
Okay, that's just mean. Let me knock on wood right now. Because
Hope
this is
that's real
based,
wood, by the way.
it is based on the assumption that 55 is middle age and I still have the same amount of time ahead of me as what I've lived. Because I still feel like some of my best lessons are ahead of me. One, because I'm more receptive and better poised to learn them. Like, I feel like I'm learning more poignant lessons now than I was.
That's
Like,
not to say that if you know what you know now at
mhm,
25,
mhm.
it's not to say that you're going to stop learning.
Oh, right. So you're looking at it like I keep
I
living
keep
and
I keep
building
building
as I
on that
grow. In that,
versus
and
me
yeah,
building on what I've learned now in my 40s and grow. I will be doing that at
but we're
25,
not building. That's the difference in the question. You automatically know everything you know.
at 55.
Yes.
No, I'd rather be building. I'm a lifelong learner. That's what
Oh,
I see in
see,
myself.
there's the nuance in the
Yeah.
question.
Well, I don't want to know everything. Like
Mm.
I really want to be doing that
The
as
process
the
to live it.
process. Yeah.
And yeah, that's where I diverge with you.
Yeah.
I will skip to the end of the book and read the last chapter. I just told you to like tell me that whole movie that I'm still gonna watch. Like that's my issue. That's my thing. I'm like
I literally gave away the ending to a movie called Straw, and
Straw on Netflix.
she's
Yeah,
still gonna
I'm
watch
still
it.
gonna because let me tell you, Tyler. I told you before, Tyler Perry does a number on emotions, and I'm like I can't deal with it right now.
This was heavy.
Yeah, and everything I've seen about it is that it's really heavy. So I'm like, just tell me how it ends so that I can be in an
Mentally
unconnected
prepared. Yeah.
emotional state when I
Yeah.
watch it. But yeah, like I'm the person that skips to the end of the book.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why Netflix is really bad for people like me. If
Because
you
you can just
post
fast forward.
the whole season,
Yeah.
especially if it's like a mystery thing, like with the residents,
Yeah.
sis, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I watched the last episode and then I went back.
No. No.
It was killing me not knowing. I did that with the Blacklist too. Like I got through like 4 seasons. I think it's like 10 seasons. I got through 4 seasons and I was like, "You know what? I'm not gonna watch 6 more years worth of episodes. Like I'm not. And if I do, I'm not gonna wait to see how this shit ends."
Maybe I
I
should do
watched the
that.
end.
Maybe I should start doing
I
that.
didn't even watch it. I Googled ending because I was like, I'm not watching a whole hour
Yeah.
episode because I might need to watch another episode to explain shit. I just said, how does it end? And then, I could actually sit and enjoy the series calmly. Yeah, I'm sick. I understand. I'm not advocating for this behavior, but I'm just telling you how I am. So that situation where I could be 55 and know everything
That works for you.
very well.
Okay.
Very well. Know everything in that moment, like everything about everything about everything. Yeah. The problem is I would be spoiling it for other people too.
Oh yeah. You'd be like, guys, this is what's gonna happen.
I'd be
And
like,
this is how
"Ooh,
you should deal with
let
it.
me tell you about that
Let
mole
me
on
tell
your
you.
back." Oh,
It's not
doesn't end
looking
well.
good.
Yeah, I would. That's the problem. But yeah, for me, for myself, just knowing everything about my own journey, healthy or not, is my personality would want that. Yeah.
You've heard it from both of us.
Yeah.
The
What would you
difference of
guys?
opinion. Tell us your opinion
Yeah.
in the comments.
Hmm. Engage.
Subscribe, like, follow.
Speaking of which,
Mm,
about more engagement.
yes.
Should we tell them about what we're doing in the next?
We did tell
episode.
them the last episode.
Mhm.
So I think what we want you guys to start doing now is to tune into,
Our TikTok.
yeah,
And so we've launched a TikTok page for Flex in the City, and we're starting to obviously populate that with content. But part of what we're also going to do on that platform is have a lot of live recordings on there or live interactive session broadcasts where you guys can actually interact with us in real time.
yeah.
Questions, comments, whatever it might be. So we'll give you a heads up on the Instagram page as to when that's going to happen. And if you guys can tune in, join us, sign in, chat with us, and yeah, just sort of like have a little sesh with us, that would be great. We had one live session on Instagram that I think had a great response. And yeah, we're really, really excited to interact with you guys more on a one on one, but also on a live basis. So check out for that. That's coming up actually in the coming
Coming,
week.
coming week.
This week coming.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think about when we're posting this episode.
Saturday or next
What
Monday.
next? What? No, next. Yeah. So in the coming week.
So in this coming week.
In the coming week. So
Yeah.
really, really close by, but we'll give you guys a heads up on when exactly that's happening, along with time and area code. So all of you all over the world can sign in, and hopefully you will. So yeah.
So until next time.
Mhm.
Bye.